I think Marine Le Pen is going to win. I think she'll be the next president of France.
No way.
Way.
Hold it now.
The first round of a presidential election clouded by a terror attack in Paris coming to a close in France, and the results are in. Voters choosing centrist Emmanuel Macron, who wants France to stay in the European Union and has never held elected office, and nationalist leader Marine Le Pen, who is vowing to pull France out of the Union and is calling for tough new laws on immigration.
Vive le Front National! Vive la République! Vive la France!
Generation Identitaire, a far-right youth group, march in the streets of France's capital. Their voices are loud and their style divisive, even confrontational.
The young people who join us are tired of the scum. They've had enough of the insecurity, enough of immigration. They don't want to become minorities in their own home. They don't want to be foreigners in their own country. At the moment, I'm going to vote for Le Pen, and I think everyone here will as well.
Not long ago, most National Front supporters would be ashamed to admit it. But this year, sympathisers have been feeling more emboldened. An official National Front office has even been opened at the Parisian University Sciences Po. 19-year-old Juliette is canvassing outside without meeting any hostility. A year ago, she was a member of the far left.
We're sold a caricature, but I saw the truth when I joined. I met people who weren't what I was expecting. They're not racist, they're not fascist, just normal people who love their country and who want to protect it.
She can win the second round?
Of course, it's not difficult. All we need is for France to wake up a bit more. Some have already woken up, unfortunately not enough, but we still believe.
I hope the French people understand. If in 15 days French people vote for Macron, that means they've understood nothing, and France is finished.
I'm really very happy that she's going to be in the second round. And the 2 points that Emmanuel Macron is ahead by, I think Marine Le Pen will make it up and will win herself by 2 points.
Well, there are 2 weeks to go. There have been 21 terrorist attacks of varying size that have happened in France since 2015. So the odds of another one happening between now and May 7th, when the runoff is, are actually quite high. Look, I've seen, Obama backing Monsieur Macron, Mrs. Merkel backing Macron, the European Commission in Brussels, who are supposed to be neutral, backing Monsieur Macron. The polls say that she's a long way behind, 20 points behind. All I would say to you is this man Macron has never been elected to anything. He's never been tested under fire. I listened to his speech last night. It was utterly vacuous. He had no policy at all, other than to say he'll defend the status quo. And I will make one prediction, that is that 20-point gap is going to narrow considerably over the course of the next 2 weeks.
The smart money is on Macron winning. However, that doesn't mean Le Pen hasn't already scored a victory of sorts. The last time around, Front National didn't make the second ballot. She has quadrupled the support of the party, so it seems. On the second ballot, it'll be even higher. She'll probably, at the very least, she'll be in the 30s. She probably cracks 40. It'll be fairly close. It's hardly a blowout for the establishment when someone who has been branded a Nazi comes in, a relatively close second place. That's not a victory for the establishment. Their best case scenario now is that they barely stave off Euroscepticism in France. Not exactly the greatest place for Macron to have to exist in, all things considered. I bet he wishes he could go back to the good old days of like the Bush era or something, when the sane centrists were all powerful and they didn't really have any significant challengers, and Front National was like, a single-digit party or something like that, like where 5th or 6th place is in this current election on the first ballot.
On a nearby balcony, 3 Femin women appeared making Nazi salutes. You call yourself feminists, but you disrupt a tribute to Joan of Arc, Le Pen said. FN security men dealt with the women who were arrested.
The truth is, she's not going to win, because in the second round, everybody will unite against her.
I would think that most people, it doesn't matter which political colour, will vote for Macron just to block the way to Marine Le Pen.
She will not win. We will not have in France another Trump election. She is not named Donald Le Pen. She's just Marine Le Pen. She will not be elected.
Opinion polls conducted before Sunday's election indicate that Mr. Macron would defeat Ms. Le Pen in a head-to-head contest.
It looks as though it looks unlikely that she will win.
But look, I think the most likely thing is that this dreadful woman Le Pen is not going to win. She'll get into the second round. She'll be up against Macron, who will beat the hell out of her because he will actually draw in all the votes of all the other moderate parties, except for Mélenchon's kind of left-wing lunatics who will go off and sulk.
This time, polls show that around a third of French voters might choose to abstain. And if they do that in the second round, Le Pen's very motivated voters could put her in office. And that could be bad for a lot of people.
Marine Le Pen was campaigning, if you can believe it, in Lebanon. That's that French voting system. But look at this. She was going to meet with a Muslim leader in Lebanon, the Grand Mufti, that's his title. Courtesy call, nice of her to do. But then an aide to that Muslim leader demanded that Marine Le Pen put on a hijab. Well, take a look.
Mufti d'Al-Azhar, qui ne m'a pas réclamé cela. Vous transmettrez au grand Mufti ma considération, mais je ne me voilerai pas.
She wasn't rude about it. She wasn't mean about it. She just refused to meet the medieval old man as if she was some medieval submissive woman. She's not. She doesn't put on a veil for anyone. What a contrast to the parade of submission, the walk of shame by these so-called Swedish feminists in the Swedish government who recently visited Iran and submitted in every sense to the Sharia customs of that bigoted theocracy. Look at their shameful faces. I bet not putting on that veil gave Marine Le Pen a 5-point bounce in the polls.